guys, welcome back to another episode of Tales of Olympus. I am your host, Ariel Eigel, your demigod detective, your gossiper. Well, I don't think there's a word like that, but anyways, and as always, we are back with another wonderful tale. But this one is pretty heartbreaking. One of the most heartbreaking love stories in all of Greek mythology. Today we're talking about Orpheus and Eurydice. This is a tale of music so powerful it could soften even the heart of Hades, but also of love so fragile that one glance could destroy it forever. Now let's begin. Long before tragic endings, there was Orpheus. He wasn't just any musician, he was the son of Calliope, the muse of epic poetry, and a king named Oeagrus. Well, there's a lot of different pronunciations, as always in ancient Greece, and it is spelled Oeagrus. So, let's continue. And since that he was the son of Calliope, that means that talent ran in his veins. But talent doesn't even cover it. When Orpheus played the lyre, everything listened. River paused their flow. Trees bent closer to hear. Wild animals, who would normally rip each other apart, sat peacefully, swaying to his melody. His music was harmony itself, just like the soul of the world had found its voice through his strings. And then came Eurydice. She wasn't a goddess or a princess or some divine muse. She was a mortal girl, gentle and graceful. But when Orpheus saw her, he didn't just fall, he plummeted into love. And the songs she wrote for her weren't just music, they were promises, laughter, laughter, devotion. And Eurydice loved him just as fiercely. Before long, they decided to marry, and the gods themselves seemed to bless the union. Well, now comes the wedding day. Now, picture this. Can you picture this? Okay, this is gonna be horrible. Not exactly horrible, it's always great, but just a little heartbreaking. But, anyways, picture it, garlands of flower, friends gathered, the song of Orpheus is a lyre weaving through the air. Eurydice walked toward him, radiant as spring itself. For a moment, the world was perfect, but in myths, perfection rarely lasts. As the celebration stretched on, Eurydice wandered into a meadow. Some say she was chased by a jealous admirer, and others say that she was simply just taking a walk and dancing among the flowers. Either way, she didn't see a serpent hiding in the grass. A bite, a cry, and then silence. Eurydice had been struck by a venomous snake. And just like that, Orpheus's joy shattered into grief. His bride, his beloved, was gone, carried down to the underworld before their life could even begin. And now, a little fun fact about Eurydice and Orpheus met. How they met is that most ancient sources, like Virgil and Ovid, doesn't describe the meeting of Orpheus and Eurydice at all. They start the story with them already in love or even already married. And later retellings and modern versions sometimes romanticize it into love at first sight story, probably because humans love a dramatic backstory. So technically, we don't know exactly how they met. We just know Orpheus loved her so deeply that he risked everything to get her back. Now, next part. Then, when Eurydice died, Orpheus was undone. The man whose music could calm rivers now poured out only sorrow. Every note of his lyre was a cry, every song a funeral. Even the gods above pitied him, but pity couldn't bring Eurydice back. And Orpheus, he wasn't about to accept fate's cruelty. If the world above had stolen his bride, then he would follow her into the shadows. He would journey to the underworld itself, something no mortal had dared before. Armed only with his lyre, Orpheus stepped into the dark. Past caves where no sunlight had ever shone, down through caverns dripping with silence. The air grew colder. The weight of the earth pressed in. And soon he reached the river Styx. Most mortals would have stopped here, but Orpheus played. His song drifted across the waters, so mournful that even Charon, Charon, the grim ferryman, lowered his oar in awe. Without demanding coin, he allowed Orpheus to step forward to the boat. And on the far shore, the path was blocked by the beast of nightmares, Cerberus, the three-headed hound of Hades. Its eyes burned, its jaws dripped flame. But Orpheus did not draw a sword. He drew his strings. The melody wove through the underworld like a lullaby. Cerberus's growls softened into whimpers. One by one his monstrous heads drooped and lay down. The path was clear. At last, Orpheus reached the castle. He stood in the deepest chamber of all, before the throne of Hades and Persephone, the king and queen of the dead. Terrible and majestic, gazed down on him. In that silence, Orpheus began to play. Not a song of defiance, but of love. He sang of Eurydice's laughter, of the garlands on their wedding day, the moment she slipped from his arms into death. His voice rose and broke, and the lyre trembled like a heartbeat. Even the spirits wept. Even the stones seemed to lean closer. And Hades himself, dark, unyielding Hades, bowed his head. When Orpheus finished, the underworld was silent. No chains rattled. No spirits moaned. Even the rivers seemed to pause. Hades' voice finally broke the stillness. Mortal, your song has moved even me. I will grant you what no man has ever asked. Eurydice may return to the world of the living. But there was a catch. Of course there was a catch. I mean, hello, we're in Greek mythology. You may lead her back, but only on one condition. As you ascend, you must walk ahead, and you must not look back at her until both of you are in the sunlight above. If you do, she will be lost to you forever. Persephone, sitting beside him, added softly, Truth is the test. Do you trust she is behind you? Orpheus, trembling with hope and fear, agreed. He would not look back. He could not. So they set out. Orpheus walked forward, every step heavy with temptation. Behind him, he could not hear Eurydice's footsteps. Shadows makes no sound. The silence gnawed at him. Was she there? Was it a trick? Or had Hades lied? The tunnel stretched on, dark and endless. His hands ached to play his lyre, but he dared not. The only sound was his own breathing, echoing against stone. And then, at last, he saw it. A faint glow. The mouth of the cave, sunlight, hope. And one more step, and Orpheus was in the light. He gasped, feeling the warmth of the world on his face again. And yet the silence still burned. He couldn't wait a second longer. He had to be sure. He turned. Eurydice was there, her hand just reaching for his. Her face shone with love and sorrow. And then she was gone. Dragged back into the shadows, vanishing like smoke on the wind, only her final whisper echoed. Farewell. Orpheus reached out, but the cave was empty. He had failed. Orpheus stood frozen at the cave's mouth, staring into the shadows where Eurydice had vanished. The rules were unbreakable, and he knew it. He had been so close. One more step, one more heartbeat. But doubt had stolen everything. He tried to go back. He begged Charon for another passage, sang again for Cerberus, pleaded before the gates. But this time, the underworld was unmoved. Eurydice was gone forever. Orpheus returned to the world above, but he was not the same. His songs, once of joy, now carried only grief. When he played, the rivers no longer danced. They mourned. The trees wept sap like tears. Even the birds seemed to sing with sorrow. He swore never to love again. His heart belonged to Eurydice, and her absence was a wound that would never heal. And now, different versions of the myths tell different endings. Some say Orpheus wandered the world until wild followers of Dionysus, angry at his rejection of all women, tore him apart. Others say Zeus himself sent a bolt of lightning to strike him down. But whichever ending you choose, one truth remains. When Orpheus died, his soul descended once more into the underworld. And this time, no condition, no doubt. No glance could separate him from Eurydice again. They were finally reunited, side by side among the shades. The myth of Orpheus and Eurydice asks us something we all struggle with. Can love survive without trust? It's sort of like Eros and Psyche's story. While Orpheus's magic could charm the gods, but his heart could not conquer fear. And sometimes it's the smallest hesitation, one glance, and the one doubt, that changes everything. And that's it for our episode of Tales of Olympus for today. And I'm Ariel Gal, and I'll see you next time for more legendary stories. Next time, we're diving into some hero adventures. And don't forget to follow, rate, and tell your friends or demigod parents about the podcast. Until then, well, please be okay. And as always, my name is Ariel, I'm 10 years old, and I will see you next episode!